A lot of Chelsea fans are not happy at the moment, including me. But let's be sincere, when I first saw the information yesterday, the lineup, I was having doubts that the game is going to be very difficult for us. Now, a lot of you should remember, before the match, Enzo Maresca stated that the South African players that arrived in training were not physically fit, in the sense that Joao Pedro, Caicedo, even Estevao were not fully fit to play against Brentford. And you can clearly see the results yesterday. Despite the fact that Caicedo played a very good match and scored, but in the beginning, Caicedo was slowing down a bit. And we all know that Estevao Williams was not physically fit. That's why he was not in the lineup yesterday. Now, I must be sincere, Enzo Maresca really gambled with the match yesterday. Because taking a look at that information, if you really know what kind of league you are playing, especially the Premier League, you will know that starting new players that is not quite up to the system will be very difficult to play against team like Brentford. Now, when I look at Brentford's formation yesterday, I know that Brentford really came to play Chelsea. I know that Brentford were really ready for Chelsea yesterday, because just look at Brentford lineup. And despite Brentford lineup, the squad that we start the match with yesterday are not capable of defeating team like Brentford. Now, one thing that makes Brentford to win those matches yesterday, despite the fact that we draw, but it still sounds like a loss for us, because we are currently 5th in the Premier League table, if I'm not mistaken, and we just draw to Brentford. And mind you, we the Chelsea fans and Chelsea as a whole have a high expectation this season. So drawing against teams like Brentford is kind of a loss to us, because Crystal Palace were even better than Brentford. And mind you, the reason why Brentford could score those 2 goals is because Brentford exploited our weakness. Now, I'm seeing a lot of Chelsea fans complain that Jamie Gittins is the cause of our results. No, Jamie Gittins is not the cause. Because the moment we sub off Jamie Gittins, that is when Chelsea starts scoring. That doesn't mean that Jamie Gittins is the problem. No, our problem yesterday was our defense. Now, there are 5 Chelsea players that actually led to Chelsea poor results yesterday. Now, number 1 on my list is Tosi. I'll be saying this before and I'll keep on saying it again. Tosi does not deserve to start in a Premier League match. In fact, Tosi deserves to start in the Carabao Cup or FA Cup. And even if Tosi wants to start in the Carabao Cup or FA Cup, it should be all those League One team. Because Tosi is too slow. He doesn't even use his abilities quite well. Just take a look at the goal, the ball that led to the second goal. Tosi was guiding a striker. Imagine, you are tall, you have power, then you could not drag with a striker. Tosi have to leave the defender and actually allow him to cross, which led to a corner. And that corner led to that long throwing that led to the goal yesterday. I keep on saying this, I rate Josh Ashipong in that central defense than Tosi, because leaving only Tosi in the back is a big risk. Now, whether you like it or not, Tosi were the cause of our 2 goals that we conceded yesterday. The first goal, the striker just used Tosi, as if Tosi was a novice, which Tosi actually is. He is not a proper defender. Can't even defend against a Brentford striker. Then how is Tosi going to go up against Bayern Munich on Wednesday? I keep saying this. If we start Tosi against Bayern Munich, then we are definitely going to lose that match. Or the next on my list is Jamie Gittins. Now, I would fully blame Jamie Gittins, but it's still his fault that our attack was kind of slow yesterday. And mind you, we shouldn't judge Jamie Gittins that much. But at the moment now, this is Chelsea football. Patience is not tolerated. We need instant results. So finally, for now, I think Jamie Gittins doesn't deserve to start at Chelsea at this moment. In fact, Jamie Gittins needs to play in Carabao Cup and FA Cup, because we can't wait for him to pick up. There is no time again, because the Premier League doesn't wait for any player to develop. Next on my list is Bononate. Starting Bononate yesterday against Brentford was actually a very big mistake, and I will tell you the reason why he shouldn't start later on this video. Another player that made a bad performance yesterday was Joriato. Converting Joriato to the midfield was a very big mistake that Enzo Maresca made. In fact, he's supposed to start Cucurella. In fact, that left side yesterday was totally poor. Down to Jamie Gittins, Joriato, all of their performance yesterday was absolutely poor and disgusting. And I think Enzo Maresca have learned his lesson yesterday, never to trust a second choice player in the Premier League. Now, the next on my list, and this player, I know that many people will disagree due to the fact that he's a fan favorite, but we should be sincere. Joao Pedro's performance yesterday was absolutely poor. He was doing some kind of unnecessary flicks that caused us to lose possession. But nevertheless, a good player can sometimes have a bad game. And subbing Joao Pedro yesterday was actually a very big mistake to make. In fact, Taron George didn't have to play yesterday match. Joao Pedro should have played full 90 minutes. Maybe at the end, he could have scored a goal. And in the second half, the game totally changed when we brought in Cole Palmer, Reece James, and Garnacho. Yesterday, when I was watching the Chelsea match, a guy who was saying that Fofana was the problem of our defense. Now, if you are the type that is saying that Fofana had a very poor performance yesterday, then you don't really know what some certain players' abilities are for. Now, mind you, despite the fact that Fofana was overlapping, do you know that Fofana was the one that was making that right side to actually move forwards? Fofana was the one that was was carrying the ball to the attack. He was the one that was driving. In fact, he did his work well as a right back yesterday. Despite the fact that Fofana was overlapping, he still find it to his best to still run back to defense. Alright, now I think Chalobah and Wesley Fofana should be at that central defense. No other player should be there at this moment. The next on my list is Enzo Fernandez. Despite the fact that he missed a good chance, I still think Enzo Fernandez made a very good performance yesterday. In fact, Enzo Fernandez was quite showing up in that midfield than Moises Caicedo in the beginning of the match. Now, the next on my list is Cole Palmer's effects. I don't have much to say about Cole Palmer. All I know is that Cole Palmer is unbelievable. And Cole Palmer just showed why it's very important in Chelsea's success. And I pray that Cole Palmer should stay fit from now till the season ends, because Cole Palmer needs to be playing full 90 minutes. Now, the biggest mistake Enzo Maresca made yesterday was not starting Reece James or Malo Gusto in that defense, because leaving Tosi alone there is a risk. Now, despite that, Pedro Neto also made a very good performance yesterday. In fact, Pedro Neto was our best winger. He was bringing some kind of dangerous threats, but at the end, Pedro Neto was inconsistent. He was not consistent enough. My problem with Pedro Neto is that he doesn't look up. But besides that, Pedro Neto's performance yesterday was quite pleased and enjoyable. Now, the next on my list is Alejandro Garnacho. As it stands now, Garnacho needs to be starting ahead of Jamie Gittins. The reason for that is not that Jamie Gittins is a bad player. No, Jamie Gittins needs time to adapt to the Premier League football. But as it stands now, Garnacho is already a Premier League player. Already know how Premier League works. And you can see Garnacho impact yesterday in the game. And I think Garnacho will have a lot to offer than Jamie Gittins at this current moment now. In fact, I won't even mind if Garnacho starts against Bayern Munich on Wednesday. Now, it pains me to say this, a lot of Chelsea fans don't actually use their knowledge to understand football. Now, I know a lot of you will see that yesterday match, Joao Pedro was totally lost. He didn't even show up in the match. Do you know the reason why? There was no striker that was covering him. Joao Pedro was in the front, all alone. He had to come back to the midfield and walk the ball inside. That is why Delap is very important in that striker role, because Delap have the power to bully defenders. And Enzo Maresca also made a big mistake not starting Marc Guyo and Joao Pedro in that lineup, because Marc Guyo is supposed to play the number 9 role, then Joao Pedro is supposed to play the number 10 role yesterday. Now, nevertheless, Chelsea are still undefeated in the Premier League, but we just dropped a massive point yesterday, because we Chelsea fans, we don't settle for less. Or let's just say Chelsea as a whole, Chelsea family, we don't settle for less. We always want to go for the win. Even if we don't want to win a trophy now, or even if we are not expecting any trophy, we need to be winning consistently. Despite we draw the match yesterday and we secure 1 point, it still stands as a big loss to us, because we are the world champions. We don't need to settle for less. Now, this is the solution that Enzo Maresca needs to pick from his legacy yesterday. Number 1, never start Curato in that left back. Cucurella should be our main man in that defense. Same goes with Reece James or Malo Gusto. I'm talking about that 2C issue, because as it stands now, Maresca needs to do something quick about 2C, and he should do it fast, because Bayern Munich, their football is attacking football, and Company is studying Chelsea's weakness right now. Chelsea's weak link right now is 2C at that defense. You can see yesterday that Brentford was actually crossing the ball to where 2C is, and that is where they get their result from yesterday. Watch the highlights again and see where Brentford scored their 2 goals. Or see what led to Brentford's 2 goals. It was through 2C. So Enzo Maresca should know what to do about 2C. If it's to bench him and start Fofana full time, I don't care if Fofana sustains an injury, because right now we don't have patience to be gambling against all our matches. Now, Enzo Maresca should look for a solution to start Garnacho in that starting 11 as he stands. In fact, Garnacho should always come off the bench in the second half. At least 45 minutes is okay for Garnacho at this moment, because we need goals and results as soon as possible. So, Chelsea fans, what is your opinion? What is your thought in our match yesterday? And which solution do you think the coach should make next? Let me hear your opinion at the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Chelsea updates. See you on my next video.